What's going on, everybody? Spaceballs here. Welcome back to another Heroes War video. Today, guys, I want to do the beginner's guide with you. And what I want to do is kind of go over the game, what I've been doing in the game, and what has been working for me. Now, everybody plays these games differently, so the way you play the game might be different than the way I play the game. But I just want to go over general things that you should be doing, or the average player should be doing when starting off in this game, or even 2 to 3 weeks into the game. And I kind of want to show you where I am, what I do every single day. Now, I don't get to grind the game as much as I would like to because I'm playing so many games at this point. But I feel like I've been playing the game long enough now, about 2 weeks, that I have general knowledge on the game and I feel comfortable making this beginner's guide and giving you guys this general advice. So let's get right into it here. Now, I didn't do my dailies or anything yet because this kind of ties hand in hand into this beginner's guide. So the first thing I want you guys to take note of is the events, this box here that says available, and this packed shop. Now, in my last video, I went over the collection, the crafting factories, and the card research. I'm going to touch on each one of those quick here, but if you're looking for more information on those particular things, I will link that video down below. So once you start this game, the most important thing for you to do is pay attention to these events, this box here with the 3 stars that is moving, and this packed shop. Along with your daily quests, you want to be doing these events every day, and Come To Us is very good with their events. We've had so many events since this game has been launched. I think it's been about 2 to 3 weeks now. And on the left-hand side here, you can see we already have 5 events going on. One of them is the monthly attendance. Just recently, we got the lucky dice, the guild mission, which guild raid is coming soon. I have a patch video that will be up before this one, so you already had seen that. But you want to get familiar with this. You want to add these events in with your dailies. These are very important. There is so much awesome stuff that comes from these events. So missing out on these would just be hurting yourself in your long-term progression. I'm not going to click on each one here because you guys get the drift here. Just click on the mission, bingo mission. Now you can see what you can get from the bingo mission as the main rewards. Do it with your dailies. Get it out of the way when the game resets. This way you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. That is what I'm doing at this point because I don't get to grind the game as much as I would like to, but I do sign in every single reset. I do my dailies, I do my events, and like you see, I have a ton of gems. I've only spent $42 on this game. I have a ton of neostones, a ton of gold, and it's just because I am doing my events and my daily quests. Next thing here is this box with the 3 stars. Try not to let this sit. Try to collect it as much as you can. So now you see I collected here. I got my supply box. In 2 more hours, I will get another reward. So you want to kind of try to hit this timer and not let it sit there without it being collected because then you're just wasting time for your next reward that you could get. So very important. 2 hours, I want to make sure I sign back in, collect my next one. Sometimes it goes up. I think the better the reward, the higher the timer, or it gets higher throughout the day. So you definitely want to take notice of that and make sure you're collecting it as often as you can. Now, the pack shop in this game is where I'm getting most of my crafting factory resources from. Now, this shop isn't as good as KOH's shop, but it is a very good shop. I get my lumber from here, and this is how I got my crafting building to level 4. Same thing with my converter stones. Now, you'll need these if you want to craft cores. There's 2 ways to craft cores, which I'm going to show you in a second. But I like to buy these every time. Same with any crafting resource that comes up in this shop. So if you have some extra gems and you want to do a couple of refreshes, that would not be a bad thing. I do it all the time so I can get the resources I need to upgrade my crafting factories. So you want to make sure you pay attention to this shop every time it refreshes, which is every 2 hours. If you want to use 5 gems, you can refresh it a bunch of times to see if you can get the resources that you're missing out on. Maybe you're missing like 2 pieces of wood. You can refresh a couple times, get those pieces of wood, and then move on. I do it all the time when I need stuff to upgrade my crafting factories. Now, once you take notice of those things and you're getting all your free stuff, you're doing your quests, and these quests are going to give you pretty much all the resources you need to use throughout the game as far as neostones go, gems, gold, cores for your super boosting, for your crafting factory. All that stuff is going to come from your quests. So your card quest, your upgrade quest, your general quest. So you want to make sure you take notice of these, look at them. And one of the best features in this game is you can kind of look at it. So let's say I wanted to get this gold here, or even better, let's say I wanted these 100 gems. I can literally just click go, and it's going to bring me to the mission that I need to do to get those 100 gems. So you can literally just go down the list, see what you need, click it, and it's going to bring you straight there in the game, and then you can do it and collect your reward. That system makes it very easy to finish off your quests. I actually love that feature in this game. So now let's say you want to do your crafting factory. You can go down here to upgrade quests, and you see here we have stones. Now you do need a lot of stones to upgrade your factories. So I can click view details, and this says defeat stage 6 boss of any mode in Battle Center. I can do that and get my 20 stones. And this upgrade quest here, step 1, 2, 3, and 4, gives you so much crafting material, gems, summons, neostones, you name it, it is here. you want to make sure you target this, especially if you're a free-to-play player. Same thing with card quests here. If you need these promotion cards, me, I haven't been doing them. Epic fail on my part. But if you want the SR card and the SSR card, just do these quests. For me, it's really easy. All I have to do is rank up an R card. I just haven't had the time. I'll unlock this, then I'll unlock the next one and the next one. So these quests are very important, especially if you're a free-to-play player and you're new to the game. Make sure you are paying attention to them, doing them. They are very easy. I know I haven't done them yet. It's just because I've been super busy and I haven't had the time. But I promise you on stream, probably tomorrow night, I will be getting all of that stuff done. Now, the next thing you want to be focusing on is your crafting factories. I went over this in my last video. I want to touch on it again quick here. I believe the conversion station should be your first investment as far as your resources go. And when you scroll down here on the bottom, you have two sets of cores. Now, you have the 8-hour cores and you have the 4-hour cores. I like to do the 8-hour cores. Now, you can farm these badges, and I'm going to show you where in just a second, in the other content in the game. These come from campaign, battle center, same thing with the cores. But when you need massive mounts, when you start getting to that level 43, level 45 area, you start needing like 40 plus cores per hero. And I like doing it with these medals. The only issue is you need these medals to upgrade the abilities as well. But the reason I like the medals is because you can craft so many. As you can see here, we can craft 12. Now, if we click on the 4-hour ones, you need cores and converter stones to make another core. So let's say I wanted to make this attack core. I have to feed it my ranger or my support cores in order to craft my attack core. So for me, I like to do the 8-hour ones. It's really up to you and what resources you have. I kind of mix it up sometimes. That is really up to you. Another thing I want to take notice of here is the one that costs Neostones for 1,000. You want to unlock that as fast as you can instead of getting a contract right away, because I believe that third slot will really help you out. And you want to try to upgrade this as quick as you can, because it's just going to give you more space and more cores to craft at one time, which will generate you more cores overall. So this is a very important building. Focus on this first, and then you can go back and focus on the other ones. And all these resources you can get from the quests and the pack shop like I showed you. Now, one thing I didn't go over in my last video with the card research is that you can actually disassemble the cards. The reason I didn't go over this in my last video is because I believe as a new or even a mid-game player, you should not be disassembling the cards. I know it gives you a token straight up front, but the problem is you are actually missing out on the XP. So what I mean by that is when you have a card here and you feed it up the XP, you can take that card and then feed it to another card, which is going to give you double the amount of XP. And when you just disassemble it, you're missing out on that XP. So it's going to take you longer to upgrade your other cards. And that's why I left out the disassemble in my last video. But I want to touch on it here because maybe you do want to do it. I don't recommend it because you're missing out on all that extra XP. And I feel like as a free to play or even like a mild spender, you want to try to get as much XP as possible. And the best way to do that is by putting the card here and then feeding it up and then using that card and feeding it into another card, which is going to make that card level up that much faster. But if you want to disassemble the card, all you have to do is go to your inventory, which is up here, this little bag. You click on that, you click on card, and as you can see on the bottom, you have a disassemble. So let's say I wanted to disassemble this card here. I'm just going to do this for video purposes. I click disassemble, I click the card, and now we're going to get an R token straight up. But the issue with that is you will not get the extra XP because if I fed that up in the research tree, it would go up to level 20, and then I could take that level 20 like this SR here and feed it into another card, which would give it that much more XP. So I feel like that way is much more efficient than disassembling your cards, but it is up to you at the end of the day. Whatever you do though, you want to make sure that you're going to that shop. Let me show you here. I know I showed this in my last video, but I want to show it here again, just in case you didn't see it. Click on this coin up here and it's going to bring you to the shop. Just make sure you're buying this every month, the one that I have bought out. This is going to give you a selective ticket so you can buy any skill card that you're looking for. So whichever way you choose to go, just make sure you're buying this SSR skill card selective ticket. And along with that, you want to buy this SSR promotion card as well. So as long as you're buying those two every single month, it's up to you on how you want to do it. Now I kind of want to go over my general team here and what I'm building and why I'm building it. So as most of you guys know, I picked K-Ross, and now K-Ross is in the special selective card drawer where you get all of his gear after 90 summons if you don't pull him before then. K-Ross is actually one of my favorite heroes at the moment. He does so much damage. He's good in like every single part of the game. His kit is fantastic. Turek also does massive damage. I am loving him as well. I am able to clear so much content because of him. And then I use Chapman as the defense breaker. I use Isla for support. Same thing with Popo. Now I'm working on my Irena. She is fantastic. She hits 12 times and she freezes. Ton of control. I'm going to be using her in Isrid. I think that's what his name is. The other rune dungeon. We're going to call her Mini. I know you guys are going to rip me up in the comments, but I also contracted her out. She's going to be a fantastic unit. I'm not going to go over units too much in this video. I will make a separate video where I kind of go over my team and break it down for you. I just want to give you a general idea of what I'm doing for being 2 weeks into the game and why I'm doing it. Now, I also contracted out Rosemary. Again, she is another damage dealer. So as you can see, I'm kind of mixing up my supports, my rangers, and my dealers. I made a huge mistake by not contracting out tankers. So now we got Madeline here, and I will be building her as soon as possible because I feel like once you start getting to the later stages of the rune dungeon, you really need a tanker. It's going to help you out tremendously. So that's kind of a mistake that I made. So I'm correcting that mistake now by building Madeline. She's going to be a fantastic tanker. So for your first team, you really just want to focus on 2 supports, a damage dealer, a ranger, and a tanker, and then you can kind of mix them around and see what works best for you. The best advice I can give you is not to contract out too many right off the bat, because if you're doing all these events like I showed you and all of your quests, you're going to get so many Neostones, gems, and free contracts that you're probably not going to have to waste your other resources on these contracts. So the best thing you could probably do is just kind of stick with your starting hero, kind of use the free ones they give you. When you start getting your free contracts, well, you'll get 2 within like your first 3 or 4 days of playing, and then I believe you get another one like your 5th or 6th day of playing, and then you'll get one from the bingo event if you've been doing it since the beginning. And with all those free contracts, you should be able to contract out your first team. You're mixing it up between supports, tankers, damage dealers, and rangers. This way you can kind of spread yourself through the content, because the content gets really hard in this game. Even campaign gets really hard. So you want to make sure you have a nice mixture of damage dealers and supports to carry you through that content. So don't rush and just like spending all of your gems on contracts and then summoning and kind of doing what I did and just contracting out stuff that looks cool and not really just like reading their skills and contracting them out because you actually need them. But I've been kind of lucky because my current team is pretty much clearing all the content and it is doing really well. Now I'm just going to add some tankers and some rangers. I just want to show you here so you can see what contracts I have in possession. Same thing here on this side. And now I know Talia is a fantastic unit and I do plan on contracting her soon. But when I was reading over skills, I wanted to make sure I was going with control, and that's why I picked Irina over her, and I picked Madeline over her, because I want to make sure that I'm picking units that is going to help me clear content like Arena, trace specimens like the stage 10 and 11, you know, the battle center. So I want to make sure my team was leveled out in a way, and eventually I will go back and get Talia, and I know she is a fantastic late game unit. But I already had so many damage dealers and rangers that I really kind of wanted to take a step back from it. And I wanted to do something different because I know everybody's using her. So that's why I went with Irina instead. So once you get your general team built, you're going to be in the story mode here. Now, once again, I haven't been doing much story mode. I probably should have this finished by now with the team I have. And I know it can definitely finish this content. I just haven't had the time. But as a new player and just starting off in this game, you should be doing as much of this story mode as you can. It's going to give you all the resources you need, as in those metals for crafting, to level up your abilities, your super boosting, your lumber. The story mode just drops all different sorts of resources that you will need to get through the beginning content of this game. And when you get stuck here, the next thing you want to do is take the team that you're using in this story mode and bring it into trace specimens and start farming your gear. So like me, I've been farming stage 8 over and over and over and just tweaking my gear, trying to get as much 5-star gear as I can. This game only has 5-star gear as max right now. I don't know if that's going to change in the future, but it does not have 6-star gear, so 4-star gear is really not that bad. So once you're stuck in story mode, you want to come here, whether you're looking for attack sets. I honestly think for the first couple weeks, you should focus on attack sets because damage is the most important thing in PvE content. Speed comes more into play when you get into the later dungeons and you get into PvP content. So soon I will make the switch over to the other trivia dungeon, which is Isrid. But I believe early on, once you get stuck, you should come to trivia and just farm this, get your attack sets, get your crit rate sets, and get all of your damage dealers in their attack sets. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'll use Turek as an example. Now he's been pretty much my main damage dealer except for Kairos, but because I have his exclusive EQ, I've been focusing on him more. Same thing with his super boost up here, and this is where those cores come into play. And you are going to need a ton of cores to finish off the super boost. The next thing is the ability, and these are those metals that I was talking about. To boost up his ability, you're going to need those same metals that you will need in your core crafting factory. So you want to make sure you are careful with how much you spend on making cores. Same thing with how many you use on these abilities. So you really only want to level up the abilities that you're using on your current team. You don't want to waste metals, so you don't want to just start doing like random heroes just to upgrade their abilities. Make sure that you're going to use that hero before you start using those metals on their abilities. So let's pull up his stats here. Very high attack, very high HP, very high crit rates. Penetration rate is a little low, but it's hard to get all of these stats with like this blue 4-star gear. But where I have my Turek now, he can pretty much clear the content I need him to clear. And I tried to get some accuracy on him as well, along with crit damage. Now I started building my arena, and you can see she's got all 5-star gear except for the body. And this is what I'm talking about fine-tuning your gear. You see these gloves are fantastic. Crit rate, crit damage, accuracy, resistance, penetration rates. Same thing with the boots, attack percentage. Now as far as gear goes, your gloves, your boots, and your ring are going to be percentages. Your ring gets crit rates, crit damage, HP, defense. Same thing with flats. Your gloves get speed, attack percentage, HP, defense, and then it also gets flats. So you want to make sure you're getting speed or percentages on your gloves, your necklace, and your boots. Your weapon, your belts, and your armor are always going to be flat. So your armor is always going to be flat defense as the primary. Your necklace is always going to be flat HP, and your weapon is always going to be flat attack. For your gloves, you're mostly, except in certain situations, you're going to want attack speed or attack percentage, or on your supports, either attack speed or HP or defense, depending if they scale off HP or not. Same thing with your boots. You're most likely going to want attack if it's an attacker. If it's a support, you're probably going to want HP. As far as your ring goes, early game, you're probably going to want crit rate. Late game, you're going to want crit damage. Even penetration rate, depending on what you're going for, but that's more of a late game build when you can make up for those other stats. So for my Popo, we have him on attack speed, resistance, which I'd rather have these as HP because he scales off of HP. And then his ring, we have HP. So just take notice of how the gear works. Gloves, boots, ring, 99.9% of the time you were going to want percentage stats. And now I'm sure you're noticing all my gear is level 12, 4-star, 5-star, or powered up to 12 except for the body because I just switched it on my Kairos. But you want to make sure you're min-maxing your gear when you start getting into these later dungeons. And this is what I'm talking about when you get stuck. When you get stuck, you want to come back here, min-max your gear, make sure the stats are good. All the gear has the stats that you're looking for. Now, it's never going to be perfect, but you can get the general stats that you're looking for just by farming trivia for like a day or two and then just upgrading the gear and seeing what upgrades like this: attack speed, crit rate, accuracy, resistance. 3 out of the 4, not bad. And then I got the attack percentage. And I can tell you right now, units are always going to be stronger when you super boost them and you have their exclusive EQ gear. Same thing with these skill cards. You always want to make sure you have their SSR skill card, and you always want to make sure you have a Fury card on there as well. Those are very important. If you're using the units, make sure you have these things. Now, as far as the exclusive EQ gear goes, you get this from the shop, and it actually costs 500 gems. Now, I don't know if there's another way to get this gear. Maybe you can farm it somewhere in the game. Let me know down in the comments if you know exactly where you can get it from or another place that you can get it from. As of right now, I think you can only get it from here, which is the exclusive equipment pack. So on the top here, you can see in possession, in possession. So now when I roll this for 500 diamonds, I will get 5 exclusive EQ pieces of gear ranging between, you know, rare and legendary. So I'm going to refresh this here, and you want to make sure you refresh this every day until you get the ones that you're looking for. So now I'm actually looking for Chapman and Isla's gear. So I'm going to roll 500 gems here so I can show you what I'm talking about. So now you can see it's like a slot machine. You click stop and you pretty much pray for the best and pray that you can get some legendary gear out of this, or at least purple gear. So we got Isla's purple gear, which isn't bad. Now we can either re-roll this or just press OK. We're just going to go OK. And this refreshes every 2 hours, I believe, after you roll it, or it's every day. If you don't roll it, I'm not really sure, but you can see the timer on the top. And we just collected all of that gear that we rolled for 500 diamonds. You want to make sure you're doing that for the units that you're using. As far as guild goes, this is very important. We are still looking for people. We are 18 of 30, so if you want to join, the name is Spaceland. As you can see here on the left, we would love to have you. Guild raid is coming on the 15th. I have a video coming out really soon about that. Right now for guild, all you have to do is dispatch. This will level up your guild and this will give you a ton of rewards. So you just pick one of these here, whatever resources you're looking for. Dispatch every couple hours. Make sure you do it because it helps the guild and yourself. Not too much content here in guild, but there is a lot of guild content coming soon, so I'm not worried about that. So now once you're doing a story and you're finishing up the story and you're grinding your trace specimens, you want to make sure you're coming into this other content like virtual training, battle center, hero challenge. Now, even if you can't like get high in this, make sure you're using your little computer chips every single day. Like even if you're doing level 2, and you just sweep it just to finish your events, whatever it is. It's free resources, it's free medals like you saw there. Those medals, you're going to need so many of them. So it's so important that you do this. Even if you just do level 2 and you just sweep it, there's nothing wrong with it. Once you get stronger, you'll be able to go to the stronger levels. But the point of this is to make sure you're using all of your resources every single day, and that's going to give you more resources in return. So even if it's a low level, you still want to make sure you're doing it. It's very important. And that goes for all of this content. Hero challenge, I probably don't do it as much as I should. This resets every day, every reset. So just make sure you're doing it. Get as high a score as you can. Collect rewards. Even if it's not a high score, it's still free rewards. Same thing with these mercenary missions. Do as much of these as you can until you get stuck. Free rewards. Pretty easy in the beginning. Do it as much as you can until you get stuck. Go back to rune farming. Come back to it when you get stronger, as in, runes, super boosting, and all that stuff. Same thing with your underground refinery. Make sure you do this every day. You only get 3 turns. A lot of the content in this game is very limited. There is a lot of content, but it is limited to the resources you have to do the content. So my point here is just make sure you do as much of the content as you can, as in using your resources or whatever resources you have. Like me, I have 3 computer chips. I want to make sure I use those 3 computer chips before the daily reset. Even if I'm not doing high level content, I still want to make sure I'm collecting as much resources as I can from it. And that is a mistake that I make every day because of time issues. But if you guys are playing this game every day, you definitely want to make sure you're checking out all of this content. Same thing with daily training. This is limited to 2 times a day. You get your XP bottles, you get your gold. As you can see, it resets in an hour. Twice a day, make sure you do it. Easy peasy, free stuff. Same thing with your arena here. This definitely gets harder the higher you get, but you get so much free stuff. This game gives you so many resources, so many free things, so many quests, just so many ways to grow as a free-to-play player. That's why I really do love this game. And as you climb up here, you will get a character, which is Ziv. So once you get 3,000 points, which probably isn't going to come too fast, but if you work on it every day, as you can see, you're getting a ton of gems, ton of summons, and then you get Ziv, which isn't a bad character. So make sure you don't contract him out because you'll get him for free here. And then as you keep going, you get more summons, more gems. This game is just so generous when it comes to free stuff. And you want to make sure you're doing all this stuff anyways, because it usually is paired with an event, which is going to give you bingo tickets, dice rolls. And that's why it's so important to just stick to your quests and your events. And that's pretty much going to carry you through all of the content you need to be doing at that time. So I think that covers everything for like you playing the game for 2 weeks to a month, as in what you should be focusing on and what you should be doing. And you really should just be focusing on your, your main teams for trivia and your rune dungeon farming, because the more runes you farm, the more gear you're going to get, or the better gear you're going to get, and then the more content you can do as you get later in the game. Most of this content you can do with your starting level team, like I showed you. Even if you have to do the lower levels, you can still clear it to do your events to get your rewards. And if you're doing this every day, you'll have all of the same resources you see that I have here. You get a ton of neostones, a ton of gems, and this is all from me just doing the free stuff in the game on a daily basis. And I don't even do half of the stuff I could be doing because of time reasons, because I'm playing like 20 different games. But if this is like your main game or your secondary game, you will probably have double the resources I have, because you'll probably be done with story. You'll probably like level 50, clearing, trivia 11, Isrid 11, and you're probably doing all of this other content, no problem. And now after this video, I'm going to start going over each piece of content, as in trace specimens. I'll do a team. Same thing with virtual training and all the other content. I'll break down the units. I'll go over each unit that I'm using and why. But for now, that is going to wrap this one up. I hope that kind of gives you guys a general idea of what you should be doing in this game as a free-to-play player in your first couple weeks to a month of playing. Thank you guys so much for the support. We're still growing so fast. We have the giveaway going on. I will link the video down below. Same thing with the random giveaway. All you have to do is sub to the channel, like and comment on my past 10 videos, and that will automatically enter you into the random giveaway. We have 2 giveaways going on Discord. One for your cutest fur baby picture, and one is the exclusive Discord giveaway. That is linked down below, along with my Twitch, where we also do giveaways. I love doing these giveaways for you guys. The support is amazing, so I love supporting you guys back. As always, I love each and every single one of you. I will see you in the next one. Spaceballs out. Peace.